Hey guys, Josh with LynkSpyder. Today we're going to talk about a new product that we're releasing for this AthletesGoLive device. This is the AthletesGoLive, what they're calling the AGLv1 device. It's an Android tablet. It's ruggedized. It has some slots for various things like SIM cards, uses Wi-Fi. We're not really here so much to talk about the AGL service, although I'll give you a little bit of brief information. It is a streaming device. This has a camera. And ultimately what AGL is doing is providing a service that allows you to stream and score the game at the same time. That provides a video online that folks can watch that has stats and score and things like that. And that's a tool that they're building, and it's sort of been thrust into prime time with COVID. So certainly a good time to have that tool. But the biggest focus that they're going for is for scouting purposes, and I can certainly understand the necessity for that right now. Coaches just can't travel, so online is the tool that they have. So it's a good product at a good time. And can just only get better. And so this fall season, I expect a lot of use to happen. So again, you can check them out at AthletesGoLive.com. This again is the AGLv1. We don't use their service. It's nothing against them, but we're not here to promote or detract from them. We just make sure that our product can work with the most common uses out there, and we've had a lot of people that have asked about this, so we certainly want to make something happen. That being said, this device is very heavy. It's certainly larger than the majority of the devices that we've used, and so it's sort of created some complications. We don't really know AGL's roadmap. We don't know how long they're going to be using this device. We don't know their next steps, and without getting too terribly complicated, it's very difficult and somewhat expensive to tool up when you don't really know how many people you're going to reach, how many you're going to need to sell, how much inventory you're going to need to keep on stock, lead times, and all that stuff that most people don't care about, but manufacturers like myself certainly do. So we really tried to find a solution that would allow us to sort of produce these on an as-need basis. And we live in some pretty amazing times. It's pretty incredible. I've been involved in manufacturing for over 30 years, and so seeing where we've come is pretty incredible. So we're gonna use a 3D printed technology to do this. We do this in-house. We certainly do build ahead, but we're basically going to build them as we see the volume. And you would think 3D printing to be a pretty cheap device, and it used to be that way. It's certainly not the case. The material that we're using has carbon fiber in it, and carbon fiber has been used in race car parts and aerospace, and it's a really incredibly strong material and very light. And so that's sort of what we were going for. So we actually produce them. This is the tray that they come out on. Each of these layers are sort of printed. That's why it's called 3D printing. Is you sort of, it lays the material down, and then it moves up a little bit and it lays another layer. And there's almost 200 layers in each one of these guys. But there are things that you can do with a 3D printed technology that you just can't do with traditional manufacturing, or if you could, it's very expensive. So for instance, this is a standard through hole that's got a square head in it. If I was to machine that, it would be very expensive, or it would be nearly impossible to do that. But with 3D technology, it's pretty simple. So sort of got a little long-winded there, but I'm kind of sort of a manufacturing nut. This is the product that you're going to get when you order this. It comes with one of our normal nuts. It's a quarter 24 material. We ship this with one of these plastic acorn nuts. Serves absolutely no purpose for you. If you want to throw it away, you can. But we put it on here because we don't want this stud puncturing a hole in our shipping or scratching any of the material. So that's something that's not needed. This nut you can take all the way off. Anyhow, that's the standard wing nut that we sell all of our product with. these pieces come apart. You're left with a 1/4 carriage bolt. It's got this square head on there that seats down in this hole. You'll notice there's one on each side, and that's because these pieces are identical. You can switch them around. You can go any direction you want. But this is the way it's supposed to fit. Put that in there. Put that in here. And then this clamps between the AGL material, and it's tightened down with this wing nut. Okay. One of the things that we want to talk about is how we recommend setting this up. Your fence will vary. There will be a lot of things that will be different, but the setup that we're about to outline is how we recommend setting up for the majority of the fields. And the first thing that you want to do, with our typical smartphone clamp, we typically put this around the front side so that you can get the phone as close to the fence as possible. Because this lens is not a terribly wide lens, you can actually stand it off just a little bit, and that allows you to have full access to the screen for the touch screen, which is good. Okay, so this is how we mount it. We recommend mounting the clamp about a third. Notice it's not halfway. We're going to mount it about a third of the way in, and the narrow side should be away from the camera. Okay, so the camera's right here. We're mounting this about the third, and we're going to tighten this down. This piece is going to come off, and then it's going to be placed on the Spyder slider like such, and then you're going to mount this on the fence. And we're going to outline out at the field how we recommend mounting, but one of the things that I want to outline first is this is a different setup than what we would typically do with our product. What's important to us is that you basically slap this on the fence and adjust the Spyder slider to make sure that your camera shoots through the center. We designed this by this size to give you as much adjustability as possible. Now, that being said, that was for small cameras like smartphones and GoPros and Mevos and things like that. This device, just by nature, is not going to have the adjustment that you normally do. So to compensate for that, we sort of want to standardize things just a little bit. And one of the things that we're going to talk about out at the field is the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set this claw up in a fixed position. That gives you a reference point to go off of. So again, we're going to talk about it in the video, but this is going to be at about a 45-degree angle, and this distance from the claw point to the center should allow you to place the Spyder where this nut is about in the center of the opening. That may sound a little complicated if you're not familiar with this, but hopefully the video will show us, show you how to do the rest of it, and then I think you'll catch on later. So we're going to roll the video. It'll show you through the process. And then if you guys have any questions, certainly feel free to reach out to us on any of the social medias. We're LynkSpyder.com. That's LynkSpyder. You can also reach me on email at josh@LynkSpyder.com. And we've got a contact us page at our website, www.LynkSpyder.com. Here's how you set this up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that all three of the shown claws are nice and loose in all directions. The slider T-nuts are nice and loose so we can move the device around as we need. We're going to make sure that the top left claw is locked about 45 degrees and such a length that we can place that T-nut about the center of a fence opening. And then we're going to make sure that the Spyder is nice and level. We're going to lock the top right claw in place and make sure that both of them are in good shape. And we're going to work our way down to the bottom right and get that one nice and tight up against the fence. Now, while I didn't get a video of the bottom left one, I'm going to show you a still of where we kind of want to be. Notice that the T-nuts are kind of moved inward. That'll give you a little more range of motion. At this point, everything's nice and loose, so we're going to turn the tablet on so we can get a shot looking through the lens. So we want to get to our recording program. We're just going to kind of manually move the tablet where we want until we get a shot where we don't have fence in the center of the lens. And once we're good, we're going to tighten those T-nuts down on the slider. And we're going to give the camera a nice big shake so that we can make sure that it's not going to move around. After you shake it, kind of check and make sure that there's still no fence in the shot and make adjustments as needed. At this point, we ought to be good to go.